So many service inefficiencies don't start on the job, they'll start in the truck. And so poor stock accuracy is going to create things like repeat visits, wasted time, hidden. Show you how to create this chart up here and this second chart here with the target variance line. And the first one is going to be by technician and the second one by item category. Okay, so here in the data set, and if you want this data set, there's a link to download it. And if you can't find it, just shoot me an email. So we have data like this, and you can recreate something like this. I mean, you won't need all these columns, but you can recreate something like this from your, your Service Titan data or whatever software you're using. And what you're going to have is pretty much, how much did you expect to have on hand versus an actual count. And if these are equal, then everything's good. But when they're not equal, then you have a discrepancy. And so off here to the right, we need to create our formula, which is, does this equal this? And then if it does, true, if not, false. And that's just the formula. Equals this equals this. And then it'll spit out true or false. You don't need to do like, okay, if this equals this, then true, otherwise false. You can just do a simple, does this equal right here, the item category in column I, not the item description, the item category. You could also do it on item description. You could also do it on, location. You could do it at the truck level. And so it's all the same way of doing it. It's just using different columns. And I'm going to show you how to do that. So the first thing we need is we need a unique list of the technicians. So in the data set here, we have the technician, but we don't want, Alex Rodriguez multiple times. We just want a unique list. And so I'll type in the name. Don't do that because we're in a table. So right here, you'll see the mouse change to a down arrow. So there, and then now we have, the unique list. So I'm just going to copy this and then press Control-Shift-V to paste. Okay, so now we need to do based on Alex Rodriguez, and then we'll need to, in the next column, we'll need to just get, because it's only true false here, we can just count the number of times Alex Rodriguez is here, right? So like this is all Alex Rodriguez here, but we don't need to count, okay, number of true plus the number of false. We can just count trues were there, right? So count if S, count if, right? But the reason why you want count if S is because we're using two criteria, true and Alex. I think it's going to spit an error. Yeah. So we want the column of the table, which is table var. And another reason we like to use tables is everything will automatically update, but also inside the formulas, you can see what you're counting, right? We know what this is. So here we want true, comma, and then move this out of the way. And then for technician, we want B3. Right? And so we have an accuracy of 105, so we're good. And then another thing is because the table name is TBL for table, now we don't even have to go back to the data set if we understand what the data set is if we understand the names of the columns. And so I'll show you what I mean. So here we just need a count of how many times the word Alex and then comma and then Alex, right? And then just like that, we have that. So now we just need to find an accuracy percentage, which is super straightforward, right? It's just 105 divided by 120 equals this divided by this. So 87.5. Press Control Shift and the number 5, and then you get your percentages. Okay, so we have all this here. So then what we accuracy, and then go to go to Insert, and then Recommended Charts. And it's this one here, the clustered bar here. So you can just go to data and then sort like this. And it always sort of does this. Like I'm going to back out because normally I didn't have it correct. And then I'm going to go to data and then sort. And then we want to sort by accuracy percentage. We can do largest to smallest because we want smallest to largest in the chart. Or we could do smallest to largest. If we want the top row in the chart to be, if you wanted to change the axis, you could also do that here. Like if you wanted it to be 0.75 or something, then you could do it that way as well. Okay, so we got the first chart done. So the next one is going to be very similar. It's just instead of technician, we're going to be doing item category. So again, if you remember, what we need is, I'll just type in right here, item category, and then we want the unique list of the item category here. And then from here, we want these three things, copy and paste. And then we can also add like a benchmark. So the benchmark, let's just say we want 10%. So yeah, but I'm gonna change this to this because we have accuracy percentage, but we don't want accuracy percentage. We want variance. And so essentially it's just the opposite. It's one higher, then that's good. But here, low is good, right? Like in other words, this was 21%, right? Or 20.8% variance from what you thought there was to what there was. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is the same thing, COUNTIFS. I'm not even going to go to the other tab. If you remember table, then we have the var. We need this to be true, comma. Back to table. This time we have item category, comma, and then it's B18, right here. And now we have the total there. And then, I guess I'm missing some. Okay. And then finally, what we want is we want a variance rate. So the variance rate is going to be essentially how many were false divided by the number of audits. So the way we get how many were false is we just subtract this minus this, right? Because if it wasn't true, it was false. And then divide by the total number. I did it backwards. Yeah, so we can't, it's negative, whatever that is, 59, right? So it's going to be D18 minus C18 equals the one above it, just to make it dynamic. And then we can create this chart here. Okay, I'm going to copy this and remove this formula. And then for this one, what we can do is let's do this chart. I won't, because we sorted it, if you notice, we sorted on the variance rate, and we can do that again. We can sort large to small. I mean, if you want for the chart, but you can see. And just to make sure, we can double click this down. Yeah. Okay, so to create this chart, this column and line chart, it's what's called a combo chart. And so we need to go into Excel, and we just have to highlight, because the columns here are going to be the variance rate, and then the line is going to be the target. So highlight the column of the item category, hold down Control, and then highlight the variance rate and the target variance. Go to Insert, Recommended Charts, and you can see it's none of these, right? None of these make sense. But if you go to All Charts, then you go to Combo, and then down here it makes sense. We want this to be a line. We don't need this on a secondary axis, because what it's going to do is it's going to create another axis here. We don't need that. But by item category. So truck stock accuracy by item category. Okay. And then I'm going to make this text smaller. And then I'm going to stretch this out. And then, yeah, so that's how you create those two charts. If you want, again, just like the percentages here, if you want the percent here, just don't, like if you click here and it's not highlighting the columns, it's going to give you, or you can click on the column and then do it again and then get it that way. But anyways, that's how you can create, your truck stock accuracy. The main thing is getting your data structured in a way that makes it usable. And so you're not going to have a direct, an export exactly like this. I help my clients create stuff like this. So if you need some help creating that, just shoot me an email. There's also going to be a link that you can click on to hop on my calendar. But if not, then you can email me any questions in general at questions@databoards.io. If you want the file, if you can't find it, if you have any questions in general about how to calculate these things, just let me know. Questions@databoards.io. And if not, I will see you in future videos.